Russian President Vladimir Putin has welcomed his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to the Kremlin for a bilateral summit. President Xi is in Moscow for a 4-day state visit, which coincides with the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Xi and Putin stood for both the Chinese and Russian national anthems before their Kremlin talks began. Now, China is Russia's biggest trading partner, and the pair are expected to sign numerous agreements deepening ties between the two countries. So let's bring in Yuri Reshetto in Riga to discuss this. DW, of course, having relocated to Riga after it was banned from broadcasting in Russia in 2022. Yuri, so good to see you. Let's start with more information on this visit. What exactly is planned for Xi in Moscow, and what do you think Putin is hoping to achieve with this visit?
Well, Claire, this visit plays a key role for Russia, as Xi is the highest-ranking representative of the Chinese state. Talks are currently underway between President Putin and President Xi on various topics, especially bilateral economic relations. We can see that Xi is being received in the Kremlin by several Russian ministers, so by the huge delegation, not only by Putin. Tomorrow, Xi will join Putin on Red Square to celebrate the 18th anniversary of the victory of Nazi Germany in World War II, and it's important for Putin to make this ceremony look as international as possible, with as many foreign international guests as possible at the traditional military parade. After all, this would mean that he is not longer isolated, at least not as isolated as he was at the beginning of the war 3 years ago.
Indeed, this is Xi's 11th visit to Moscow as president, but the first visit since Trump's return to the White House. Do you think this sends a message to Washington?
Well, let's do a step back. 1 year after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, China published a 12-point peace plan, but it failed because overall it simply repeated well-known Chinese positions. Whether China is now willing to offer a new plan, we will perhaps see during this visit. The fact is, today it's not China but the USA, you mentioned it, that is acting as a mediator. I don't believe that China will present another peace plan and then offer itself once again as a mediator, as a competitor, so to say, to the USA. Nevertheless, Putin is in a bit of dilemma now that Russia's relations with the US are slowly improving and China is in conflict with America. But we shouldn't yet speak of a great friendship between Russia and the USA in contrast to China. At least the Russians do so. They speak about the great friendship to China. Putin can only benefit from both at the moment. He can say, look, China is our best friend and we now get on much better with the USA today.
Yuri, thank you so much. That is DW's Yuri Reshetto in Riga.